On today's edition of Cronkite Sports Live, once again, we're talking ASU Baseball. I mean, how could you not? They've won 18 of their last 20 games.
Also, ASU football spring game is tomorrow. It's got a new look under Kenny Dillingham, and we'll tell you everything you need to know.
On top of that, ASU Beach Volleyball is hosting the Sun Devil Classic. We've got coverage from Tempe, so stay tuned for that, and so much more on this edition of Cronkite Sports Live. Welcome back to another edition of Cronkite Sports Live. It's Taylor Place, not the Gordon Commons. If you know, you know.
I agree. That's Ethan Tuttle. I'm Riley Swenson. Ethan, my last time anchoring with you, my last time anchoring this semester, but are you silly? We're still going to send it.
Roll those highlights.
Here we go. We got baseball coming your way. In the major leagues, we got the Subway Series. Right here we got, I guess you can call it the Valley Metro Series. Arizona State heading across town to take on Grand Canyon, and Grand Canyon had their way for the majority of this ball game. They led 9-2 after 7 innings, but here come the Sun Devils. That's freshman shortstop Luke Hill. 3-run bomb into deep left field makes the score 9-5. And the Sun Devils, they just keep coming here. Nick McLean with a single. That's an RBI for him. His first collegiate hit after a season and a half of sitting out due to injuries. And as we move on now, it's 9-6. Sun Devils still trail, but it's Toby time. He gets the game-tying RBI there, making it 9-9. And so the Sun Devils have clawed their way all the way back into this game. They were once trailing 9-2. Now it's 9-9 in the 8th inning, but the Sun Devils are not done yet. Luke Hill had 5 RBIs in the night, none bigger than the 2 right here. He gives the Sun Devils an 11-9 lead now. So they find themselves all the way back, and they've taken the lead over Grand Canyon on the road. They would lengthen it out to 13-9. Grand Canyon would get a run back, but Owen Stevenson would come in to close the game. ASU comes all the way back. They win 13-10, improve to 24-9 on the season. Darn right you're gonna gritty. Willie, what do you got for us?
You can see what happens when you don't show up to play, and you can see what happens when you do show up to play. And it shouldn't take you 6 innings for them to wake you up and for you to get going. It's hopefully we can get in the habit of coming out, the first inning and playing well. But I think the message to our guys is regardless of the score, you keep grinding because you never know what can happen, and to be able to put up 9. Against a pretty good team like that is impressive. So I don't think they had any miscues. We just found holes and put together really good at-bats.
All right, we've got Cooper Hancock here in studio to talk some more ASU baseball. Cooper, ASU ranked for the first time under head coach Willie Bloomquist. They're number 24 in the D1 baseball rankings. What's got them to this point?
So after that Washington State sweep over the weekend and that big comeback win on Tuesday against GCU, this is the first time ASU's been ranked in the Willie Bloomquist era. Last time they were ranked was all the way back in 2020. And to put this into perspective, they've won their first 4 Pac-12 series. This is the first time since 2009 that they've done this. They're 6-0 in the league and home, and they got 3 Pac-12 players of the week. This is Campos, Contreras, and Keishel. To compare some stats from the last couple of years, in games decided by 3 runs or less, they are 12-2. While last year they are 14-16. And games decided by 1 run. It's more importantly, they are 5-2, while last year they were 1-7. So clearly a big difference there. And the bullpen has a big difference too, as this year they're at 4.58 ERA, and last year it was 6.63. Relievers Manning, Stevenson, and Peary are gonna have to pick up some slack after big reliever Jesse Wainscott will miss the rest of the year with a broken collarbone.
All right, let's talk some Nick McLean because he got his first collegiate start against the Lopes. 3 for 6, home run, 4 RBIs. He was a standout in that first collegiate performance. So what did you see from him, and what do you like about him? Yeah, so that was McLean's first collegiate game, and of course, 2-run missile in the 9th inning to pad ASU's lead. And some more background on him. He started the year off with an injury. He was supposed to be that starting center fielder for ASU, but of course with that wrist injury, he was sidelined until now. And he committed to UCLA, but transferred to ASU. Funny story is that when he transferred to UCLA, he actually regretted his decision pretty recently. When he toured ASU, he wanted to come there, and in the McLean family, baseball is a common note, as his brother Sean plays for the Rancho Cucamonga Plates, which is the Dodgers single-A
affiliate, and he played 2 seasons at ASU. His brother Matt plays for the Louisville Bats, which is the Reds AAA affiliate, and he played 3 seasons at UCLA. So all 3 of them, all big baseball guys, and they hope to spend the offseason together in Arizona for coming years and hopefully play in the MLB together. And Nick will hopefully have a big role for ASU the rest of the year. Bloomquist will like to be cautious, not prevent any more injuries.
Well, the Sun Devils are 24-9 overall on the season. They got to that conference 10-win mark, fastest time since 2009, so they've been on fire, really. But Cooper, what can they improve on the rest of the way? Because Willie Bloomquist's still not satisfied yet. Yeah, so we all know that ASU's having one of their best starts in recent history, but not all teams are perfect. Despite being able to put runs across the board, they've been striking out a lot. In the last 5 games, they've struck out 34 times. The offense has also made up for some pitching concerns that they've had recently, as we saw on Tuesday, 10 earned runs for the pitching staff, but ASU was still able to complete the 9-2 comeback and secure that win. And for the team, they need to iron out some of the kinks, as they are still yet to play teams like UCLA, USC, and Stanford. And if the pitching improves, strikeouts are limited, this team could be lethal. All right, well, thank you so much, Cooper, for all the breakdown here in studio. We've also got Sammy Newton in studio to talk a little bit more about the upcoming schedule for the Sun Devils, as it's only going to get tougher and tougher. Sammy, what do you got?
Yeah, ASU Baseball, Ethan, has raced out to an amazing 10-2 start to Pac-12 play. However, all 4 series are come against the bottom 4 teams in the conference standings. The schedule begins to heat up, starting with Oregon State, who comes to Phoenix next weekend. The Beavers remain the dominant pitching staff in the Pac-12. Despite losing a few high-quality arms, Oregon State leads the conference in ERA and are second in strikeouts. Up in Eugene, the Beavers' arch rival, one of the more well-balanced teams, and have flirted with a top 25 ranking this season. Oregon's offense is led by Tanner Smith, and it ranks 3rd in the Pac-12 in home runs, while the pitching staff's respectable 4.30 team ERA comes in 4th. Next is Stanford. The Cardinals are currently ranked 8th in the country, and the offense remains their strength, ranking 1st in the conference in home runs, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage, becoming 2nd to ASU in batting average. The Cardinals' kryptonite this year has been the pitching staff, which has an ugly 5.21 team ERA, but the Cardinal pitchers have gotten guys to whip, striking out the 3rd most batters in the conference. ASU will close the season with 2 LA schools. First, traveling to USC, where the Trojans were picked to finish 10th in the preseason Pac-12 coaches poll, but they have surprised everyone and are currently ranked 23rd in the country, 1 spot ahead of ASU. Finally, the Sun Devils close the season with the UCLA series. Series losses to both the Washington schools have put a damper on UCLA's season, but the Bruins are currently ranked 22nd in the country and still boast an impressive pitching staff, which ranks top 3 in the conference for nearly every pitching stat. If the Sun Devils want to remain atop the conference, they will have to show that the team's hot streak is not just a product of their opponents. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for that, Sammy. Should be a fun race down the stretch in Pac-12 baseball, but now we switch over to another sport with a bat and ball to talk some ASU softball. The Sun Devils have been up and down all year, and to give us a breakdown of where they currently stand, here's Grace Johnson.
Inconsistency. That has been the theme for Arizona State softball this season. At some point, the team has looked like a formidable contender in the tightly contested Pac-12, while at other times, they've just struggled. Starting off the season, the Sun Devils seemed to be heading in an optimistic direction. In non-conference play, they were a well-balanced team at 15-3. The lineup consisted of 4 players who were batting over 400. As a team, they were batting .353 and averaging 7 runs per game, which was ranked 13th in the country. But then they opened up conference play against Arizona and headed to the Oklahoma State Mizuno Classic, where their momentum was halted. In this stretch, ASU went 2-5. While their batting average went down, their ERA went up, and both of these factors combined dropped the Sun Devils' winning percentage. ASU then lost this series to Cal to defensive errors. They committed 4 crucial mistakes, which once again dragged the team's momentum down. Then, the Sun Devils saw a glimmer of hope when they upset number 9 Washington twice and took the series. Against the Huskies, ASU saw an improvement in the circle, and the team's bullpen shut down Washington. The offense also sparked up behind timely hitting from Jasmine Rollin and Savannah Price. But the following weekend at Utah, ASU's defense completely wiped away its progress. And the number 22 ranked Utes took advantage of ASU's poor pitching to win the series. So, through 34 games, the Sun Devils have proven that you can never count them out. But as conference play has progressed, they've also shown that you can't always count on them. It's up to ASU to decide which version will make an appearance this weekend versus number 17 Oregon. Guys?
Thanks, Grace. The softball squad is in action this weekend against the red-hot Oregon Ducks. And out at Farrington Stadium to give us a preview of the series is our own Alana Hambro. Alana?
Thanks, guys. After losing last weekend's series to Utah 2-1, Arizona State softball is back here this weekend in Tempe at Farrington Stadium, hosting number 17 ranked Oregon, who had a tremendous weekend sweeping Lindenwood in both games, allowing not a single run on the board. Oregon had 11 different Ducks record a hit Friday night, pounding out 17 total with 5 home runs. Kyla Shar is batting .727 the last 4 games with 5 runs and 3 stolen bases. In addition to this, ranked second in Pac-12 is sophomore Stevie Hansen, who has won 15 games in 2023, alongside Allie Bunker, who is currently batting a Pac-12 best of .462 in conference games. About a year ago, the Sun Devils took on Oregon, beating the Ducks 8-6. But this year, Arizona State has proven trouble maintaining momentum. They will need to tidy some things up in order to back up their pitching that has proven to get them out of some tough situations. What ASU has had under their belt is their ability to swipe some bases. Last weekend, the Sun Devils stole 9 bases, including a program record 5 by Yanni Acuna. So ASU will need to continue this energy and get fired up if they want to come out on top of Oregon this weekend.
Thanks, Alana. Great stuff out there at Farrington. First pitch is going to be at 6 p.m. from Club Farrington, and you can also catch that one on Pac-12 Arizona. Moving on now, there's a lot of hype surrounding ASU's spring football game with a handful of new players. Our own Blake Neiman is out there to preview what to watch out for on Saturday.
Yeah, guys, ASU spring practice has finally come to a close, and with that, we are left with the climax of this weekend's spring game right here at Sun Devil Stadium. Unlike under former head coach Herm Edwards, this year's spring game will feature more of a traditional style, as Kenny Dillingham seeks to bring the best out of his players under the pressure to perform. The presence of the community will also raise the stakes a bit, as especially if they meet Dillingham's goal of getting 40,000 fans in the stands. As far as play on the field goes, wideouts and defensive backs will have some extra incentive to perform well, as they have been put front and center all spring long with their one-on-one matchups in practice. The same goes for the quarterbacks, who will be feeling the heat both literally and metaphorically as they carry a chip on their shoulder and making their case for the starting job. Overall, it should be a fun and exciting day with lots of talent and competition being put on display, and not to mention the fact that it's supposed to be 85 and sunny, the perfect setting for Sun Devil fans to try and activate the Valley.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Thanks, Blake. Looking forward to that spring game tomorrow. And Ethan, if my memory serves me right, though, I think you have some sort of segment named after you. King Tut's Corner, something like that?
Yeah, I got King Tut's Corner, Riley. You're right. But we've been looking for some energy on the segment, man. Would you want to come on and maybe join me this time around?
Ethan, I would be honored. Let's go ahead and do it.
We're back in King Tut's Corner. This time we've got Riley Swenson joining me amongst the pyramids behind me. Well, this past weekend, some Sun Devils came head-to-head at the annual Masters Tournament. And as usual, it provided plenty of entertainment.
That's right, Ethan. Live Golf and PGA Tour players are on the grounds together down in Georgia, and it just felt like this tournament meant a little more.
It was a bit of a reunion seeing these guys back together at Augusta, and when you take a look at this graphic, Riley, it's actually pretty split up with former ASU golfers on either side. Riley, it looks like you've got some Live guys on your side of the screen right there.
Yeah, you know, they paid me to come over here and join them. It was an offer I couldn't refuse, but it was kind of odd to see those Sun Devils split up on different teams in a sense, but both sides performed well. Phil Mickelson from the Live Tour finished second, and of course we know it was a different ASU golfer who came out victorious, as John Rahm from the PGA side took home the green jacket. All in all, if you're a Sun Devil golf fan, you've got to be pleased with the showing.
Riley, I get psyched up for the Masters like big time, but I'm also a college football nut, and having some spring football back is just so refreshing. Head coach Kenny Dillingham has made it clear when speaking to media and posting online that he wants to have the spring game packed at Sun Devil Stadium. If you're a fan, what's drawing you out?
Ethan, I think the biggest reason fans are going to go out and support is simply the guy you just mentioned, Kenny Dillingham. This guy just has an infectious energy about him. I mean, he thinks he can take on hell with a squirt gun. On top of that, I think people want to see Jaden Rashada. The freshman quarterback is as quick as a hiccup and is a player you just can't take your eyes off of. Outside of Rashada, there's plenty to be excited about. And at the end of the day, it's football. Who doesn't love that?
Taking a look at some of these other spring football games from around the country, attendance is just not where you want it to be, and you can see it at some of these CFB powerhouses like Auburn. I mean, absolutely nobody there. And clearly, Riley, I mean, it's because of the weather, and that's just something That's not going to be a factor at ASU spring game. Kenny trying for 40,000. Riley, can he pull it off?
Yeah, Ethan, that's going to be a tall task. As you can see right here, some of the top programs in the country. Oklahoma with 75,000 people at last year's spring game. But have you ever been in Norman, Oklahoma? I don't know what else they're going to do besides go to spring football. There's some of the other top programs, Georgia, Penn State, and Ohio State, all above that 60,000 mark. That's where Kenny wants to get the program to. We'll see if he's able to get off to the right foot on Saturday.
Yeah, Riley, to get 75,000 people packed into Sun Devil Stadium for a Saturday spring game, it might take a Taylor Swift halftime performance with all the greatest hits. We'll have to see if the Valley activates and attends this game. Only time will tell, but in the meantime, maybe it's time we consider some FCS, FBS exhibitions, man. I know I'm not the only one thinking this either. Here's Jacksonville State head coach Rich Rodriguez.
Hell yeah, give me $1 million. We'll be down there, Tuscaloosa or Auburn, Alabama. And I think it's good for charity too, but and you can control it a little bit. It'll be kind of fun, but I'd like to get a little cash for that. We got a lot of bills to play. That new weight room and that new facility. I mean, maybe even $500,000 will go down there for a spring game.
Might be a way to spark more spring interest and bring in some dollars from the fan base, but I guess it's another topic for another day. As always, thanks for joining myself and Riley Swenson in the corner.
We're out of the corner and back to reality, which means we're talking about some ASU golf. They're playing host to the Thunderbird Collegiate this weekend, and out at the course to give us an update is our own Trey Jordan. And Trey, you're usually in the studio pushing the buttons. Now the viewers finally get to see you on camera. How's it going, buddy? And what's going on right now at the Thunderbird?
Oh, it's going great out here, Riley. This weather is beautiful. I'm trying to get my tan on, and the course just looks phenomenal. The greenskeepers did a great job. They redid these fairways here in the fall, and then they also rolled the greens out even more than they were rolling a 9 earlier this week, which is pretty slow. It's like your local muni. And today, if you can see in the B-roll, they are not rolling that slow anymore. ASU has really impressed me today. They started out 20 under, which, I mean, come on, Riley, that's just crazy. Especially with the play of Preston Summerhays, Michael Miesit, and Jose Le Ballester, who shot 6 under on the back 9 of his first round. These Sun Devils are definitely using that home course advantage that Ben Parrish talked about last week.
Yeah, Trey, and you talk about some of those guys right there. The course looks phenomenal behind you right there. And who are those guys that we should be looking out for as the tournament comes down to the stretch? It'll wrap up tomorrow. So who are we looking out for, and who are some guys to keep an eye on?
Yeah, Riley, they're wrapping up that second round here today. They played 36 today, which is quite a marathon. But they're wrapping that up. They have about an 8-stroke lead, if I remember correctly. They're finishing up now, but I would pick Preston. Honestly, he's been their consistent rock all season long. He's had low score. Guys are picking up here and there, and they just haven't been able to pull it all together. And I believe in Preston because he's always cool, calm, collected. He's never too high, too low. He's always just business, and I really respect that about him.
All right, thank you so much for the update, Trey, and stay safe out there on the course. Watch out for some golf balls. Make sure to reapply some sunscreen and enjoy the golf. The Thunderbird Collegiate continues today and will wrap up tomorrow, so stay tuned to the Cronkite Sports social media pages and cronkitesports.com for updates.
Another men's hoops offseason means one thing and one thing only, more portal madness. ASU men's basketball head coach Bobby Hurley has already found some talent that he believes will make an impact at ASU, including some serious scoring threats. For more, here's Justin Lacertosa.
Following one of the most exciting seasons in the recent history of ASU men's basketball, it has been a rather hectic offseason thus far for the Sun Devils. Despite that, Bobby Hurley and company have wasted no time adding new faces to help fill out the roster. Rising senior guard Malachi Davis was the first player to make the move to Tempe, coming from Tallahassee Community College at the junior college level. Davis has been dubbed one of the most prolific scorers in all of JUCO, and for good reason, as he posted up stats of 17.1 points per contest on 50% from the field and 35% from long range, but those statistics don't fully paint the picture. During the NJCAA tournament, Davis exploded where he led the Tallahassee Eagles to a Final Four appearance and averaged a staggering 35.7 points in the process. Davis is an ambidextrous scorer who primarily operates with his left hand, but can use either one to wreak havoc on defenders, while also excelling at controlling the pace of the game in a half-court set and providing next-level rim pressure, which allows him to embrace contact down in the trenches. Along with the Toronto native, the Devils roped in rising sophomore forward Kamari Lands. Lands is a former 4-star high school recruit who was coming off his freshman year at Louisville, but unlike Davis, Lands didn't have the greatest 2022-2023 campaign, as he averaged 5.9 points per contest while shooting 32.6% from the field and 33% from three. Lands lacked any sort of feel for the game at the next level, but he has the makings to be a ferocious wing defender down the line due to his physical tools, while also displaying smooth shooting mechanics off the catch with spurts of shot creation. Despite a rough freshman season, ASU has plenty of time to develop Lands throughout his young collegiate career. Bobby Hurley and his squad still have moves to make in time to set the table for the upcoming season of men's hoops, but they certainly aren't off to a bad start attacking the transfer portal.
Well, with all of this off-season movement already on its way pretty much, Justin, we're going to bring you into the studio. Glad to have Justin Lacertosa right beside me now. Justin, the Sun Devils, I mean, there's been some uncertainty in the transfer portal with some guys leaving. Just today, Duke Brennan announced he's in the transfer portal as well. So for the Sun Devils, what is this rising sophomore like Kamari Lands really going to bring to ASU's offense?
Yeah, Ethan, as you said, it's always important to really see and evaluate how the new transfers fit on their new teams. And luckily for ASU, Kamari Lands fits with them like a glove. Right now, he's slated to be a starter going into next season, and I wouldn't be surprised if he finds himself in that starting role on opening night. His role will probably be reduced this season. He had some trouble at Louisville adjusting to the feel of college basketball, but he's going to be a solid tertiary offensive guy in that role. You know, coming off the screens, moving out the ball in his hands, setting himself up for efficient catch-and-shoot looks while also cutting on the baseline. Those are things that are important for a role player or someone in that role to have. And I think he's also going to get some reps as a shot creator because he's shown that he could slash to the rim from the top of the key and finish with contact. He could get to the mid-range with his high arcing release point and hit those shots and make the defense pay. So I think this is more of a developmental year for Kamari Lands, and I think in the future he could easily be a cornerstone and one of the faces of Sun Devil hoops.
I want to talk a little bit about Malachi Davis as well. He's been an absolute scoring threat in JUCO basketball. What's he going to bring to ASU, and what can fans expect out of him?
Yeah, so first things first, there's obviously that concern with making the jump from JUCO basketball to Division I level college basketball. And with Malachi Davis, there are some positive indicators that he won't really go through too many growing pains, as he shot 50% from the field and 35% from three last season. And his role will most likely be just as a microwave bench scorer, someone to come in the game for a couple minutes every quarter and give you that scoring punch when you really need it to put points on the board. And this is a guy with his combination of dynamic scoring and a deep passing arsenal. He's going to be making highlight plays. ASU has another walking highlight reel. He's going to get DFA jumping when he makes those plays. So you got a guy to really get momentum on your side, a guy that provides a scoring punch, and overall he's going to provide that offense for ASU.
Well, it sounds like ASU fans have a lot to be excited about heading into DFA in the next season. Thank you so much, Justin, for your time, as always.
Following a disappointing finish in Pittsburgh, ASU gymnastics will regroup and prepare for next season. We bring in Tia Reed to give a rundown on ASU's past few weeks and to highlight some of its bright spots from this season.
Last weekend, the Gym Devils season came to an end in Pittsburgh. Although ASU wasn't able to make it out of regionals as a team, Sun Devil standout Hannah Scharf qualified to nationals as an individual in the all-around for the second time in her career. Thanks to the 39.625 she posted at regionals, Scharf joined a loaded field in Fort Worth. Thursday, that field proved just how strong it could be. Scharf competed in Session 2 of the national semifinals, and the night didn't necessarily go her way. She finished with a season-low 38.6375. Despite the disappointing finale for the senior, ASU still has a lot to be proud of this season. They stole wins from Oregon State and Utah in what was their first victory over the Utes in 2 decades. The Sun Devils also posted the highest true road score in program history against Washington on February 26. All this and more resulted in a national ranking of 15 to close out the season. And while things may have ended on a sour note for Scharf, she'll get one more chance at leading her team to nationals, as she's already announced plans to use her 5th year of eligibility. The season may not have ended the way the Gym Devils wanted, but there was certainly a lot to highlight for them as they move into the offseason. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks so much for the time, Tia. Let's go ahead and check out some top plays, though. Let's get some action-packed highlights in here. Here's Isaiah Jackson in center field. Hello, as he goes over the center field wall and robs a home run off of Washington State.
Moving over to some softball action now. That's Kayla Lissy in the box looking for her first RBI, and what a way to get it. Launches one into the snow in right field, her first home run of the season as well. The Sun Devils would lose 13-2 against the Utes.
Plenty of snow out there in Utah, Riley. Not a lot back here in the great state of Arizona as the Sun Devils taking on the Lopes. We've already seen some highlights from earlier. How about Nick McLean, the freshman, in his first collegiate start with a big 2-run blast right there as he's fitting right in with the Sun Devils out there on the field. Doesn't matter where he is. He seems like he's going to be a dangerous guy and a guy to watch out for, Riley.
And Ethan, you said it, the weather warming up here in Arizona. Baseball, softball, golf, you name the sport. We've got it going on right now. For everyone in the studio, for Ethan Tuttle, I'm Riley Swenson. You've watched Cronkite Sports Live, and we'll see you next time.